Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, technical difficulties.
Yeah, I thought I might have some too. It was taking a while. So I'm glad you made it.
It's called, of course, when you want to get on, it decides that it's going to update the system.
Oh, of course. So I'm so excited to have you on today. We missed last week because at the last minute my guest had a scheduling conflict, so that's okay. So it's been a couple weeks, so I'm not sure if everybody's aware that we're doing the call. But I thought we'd go forward with it anyways, even if others aren't able to make it, and then we're going to put it on the group and people can watch it. And I'm excited for them to hear your story because that message and the lesson you're going to share about everything happening for a reason, it's a huge, powerful message. I've been practicing it for years, and of course we're all just practicing and getting as best we can at these concepts. But for me, it really changed my life. It gave me faith that even when things looked like they were not working out well, it turned out it was always for the best. So I'm so excited for you to share your stories and your lesson about those experiences you had.
It was a big one. Back in September, I worked for a company, a doctor's office, for 5 years, and the people that I worked with in the phone room decided that two women who had the ear of the manager decided that they didn't want me to be around because they were fearful for their job, and they figured that I would be the one who would keep her job the longest because I was there the longest. Mm-hmm. And that so they decided that they were going to get rid of me. And because they had the ear of the manager, I was let go. And I looked at it, and at the time, it was a blessing, mm-hmm. as well as a not blessing. It was a blessing because negative energy at that office was very toxic. Mm-hmm. And it was a blessing because I was away from there. It wasn't so much a blessing because it was called no job.
Right.
But I was, I had put savings away to get by. And then my parents had sold their place in Florida last year in March, figuring that they were my mom was 88, my dad was going to be turning 91 this year, and decided that to have a place down there by themselves wasn't good. And in December, my dad said, hey, since you're not working, why don't you see if we can find a place down in Florida? And actually, I found this of possibilities. And the realtor said, I really don't think these people are, this one and this one and this one is going to do it. One was supposed to have surgery. One was very sick. And one hadn't used it for a lot of years. And they all decided that they were going to keep them. So we weren't able to go. January 12th, I got a phone call from my sister at 8 o'clock in the morning. Come to the hospital. Dad is in the hospital. My dad is in the 91 years. He had just turned 91. Was in the hospital exactly one time before.
Wow.
And so I went. and he was in ICU for several weeks, and then he went to a rehab place. And not having the job, I was able to stay with my mom.
Wow.
Because my mom has dementia, short-term dementia. And luckily, she's still her pleasant self. She remembers long-term, but she doesn't remember what she did 2 hours ago.
Right.
And so it was a blessing that I didn't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blessing a true blessing that we weren't in Florida, because it would have been me, my mom, and if my dad was in the hospital down there, one, we didn't know the hospitals. Two, I wouldn't have any support from family because all my family are up here.
Right.
So it was a blessing. At the times, we didn't look at it as that.
Right.
But it was definitely a blessing because my father was in the hospital for 7 weeks. And each of us, my sister, my brother, and I, spent quality time with him during the time he was in the hospital and rehab. And they were actually putting a down payment on an apartment. They had a computer. That was Thursday afternoon. Saturday morning, I get another call from my sister. Dad's in the hospital. Get my mom ready, get mine. We got down there. And it wasn't even what he was in rehab for. But it was a blessing because he didn't suffer. And we were going to have him, excuse me, have an operation because he had a problem with his bowel. And while they were getting him prepped for surgery, he had a heart attack. They came to us and they said, well, we can continue, but he'll probably only last maybe another week. And we said that wasn't what he wanted. But the blessing was that all of us got to spend quality time with my dad.
Right.
If I was working, like my brother was working, but while we're at home doing his normal stuff, we may have only seen him once a week, twice a week.
Right. So that was a blessing as well.
And all of us.
So going forward from that experience, because I'm just thinking about myself, and I've had similar, not that situation, but many situations where at first they seemed very uncomfortable and painful. And I was able to look back after and realize, wow, what a blessing. So it helps me to practice that all the time now, rather than having to have that lag time from the pain to the recognition of the blessing. Now I'm able to do it much quicker. So when something happens that, instinctively I might think it's a negative experience or painful, even if I don't know what the positive outcome is going to be, I just work really hard to have faith that it's okay. Whatever is going to come of this is going to be for the betterment. It's going to be for my benefit. It's going to be a blessing. So it makes life so much more peaceful because I don't worry about things nearly as much as I used to. I don't have those reactions as much as I used to, because I just look at it and say, okay, I don't know the answer yet, but I know something great's coming of this. So it makes life a lot more pleasant. That's what I find.
one of the things that I'm starting to do is look at, okay, if this would be negative in most people's idea of what's going on,
Yeah.
I look at, okay, what is the positive?
Mm-hmm.
I look for the positive
Yeah.
versus, oh my gosh, I don't have a job.
Right. And even if you don't know what the positives are at that moment, just to have faith that the positive is going to show up maybe the next day or a week or a month. I think that's the hardest part for most people. I know for myself practicing, if you can see the positives immediately, then it's quite easy to realize it was a blessing. But when you can't see it because it's something that's going to happen in the future, that's when you require the faith that it is going to happen. And just say, I don't know what it is, but I trust that something great's going to happen from this, and just let it go and go on with your day and be happy and peaceful and pleasant. And at some point it shows up the next day or next week or next month, and then you can look back, like what happened with your dad. It didn't happen immediately. As soon as you lost your job, there was a lag time. So that lag time is, I think, the most challenging for most people, because that's where you require the faith that something great's going to show up, right?
And this just showed me that, source or God or whatever people call them,
Mm-hmm.
energy, has a master plan.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing with my dad is he was getting better. When we were sitting, the physical therapist and occupational therapist came to the house and said, what in the heck happened? We left him on Friday, and he was doing like 98%
Wow.
of, so he was getting so much better.
Amazing.
We were going to release him soon. And she said, I came in on Monday, went into his room, and he wasn't there. And so this part, what finally took him came from the left field.
Mm-hmm.
And because we had this quality time with him,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew that he did not want to suffer.
Yeah.
And we did not allow him to suffer. And everybody left, and I was the last one with him. After he passed, came in the time that he passed away. And that was my grandmother's signal to me that she had come and gotten him. Because both he and she died at 7 minutes after the hour.
Wow.
And that was her way of telling me that he's in good hands. Don't worry.
So it turned into a beautiful experience, the end. So much quality time, and as opposed to it could have been a very painful experience, because of your mindset, you were able to turn it around for your whole family and have that be a beautiful experience at the end.
Yeah, and it's still very painful. I mean, I've had him around. I mean, he was a very big driving force in all of our lives.
Yeah.
And he was loved by everybody. When we would go into a restaurant that he would go to with my mom, all the waitresses, the manager, they said that so many people loved him.
Nice. So do you feel like now that you had that very obvious experience that everything's happening for you, not to you, do you feel that you're able to apply it easier now to other situations than you did before you had that very obvious experience? Yeah.
I do. And I am doing things now. I'm taking small steps because I'm still healing. But I am taking small steps and doing things that I would not have done before.
Nice. Things that you would have had too much fear to go forward with? Wow. That's exciting. So it's made a big change in your life.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
And I know he's smiling down and saying, "Go, girl."
Nice.
And we're just taking one step at a time. It's been less than 2 weeks since he's gone. And next week is the holiday weekend. So the whole family is coming in from out of town. And so we're going to, celebrate both the holiday and him.
Nice. So what I want for everyone who's watching this afterwards, I'm going to post it in the group. I want to hear in the comments, if they could, is their own experiences of things that have happened that they first thought were a negative experience and then realized after, because of what came of it, realized that it was actually a blessing. And I really want to also hear from everyone, if you're putting this into practice and just deciding that you're just going to go on blind faith and just decide that if something happens that seems negative, you're just going to decide that it is happening for you, not to you, and watch what unfolds in the next, few hours or day or week or month, and just share it with us. Put it in the comments or post it in the group, because this is a huge lesson. For me, there's been, 4 or 5 huge pivotal lessons that I've learned over the last 5 or 6 years that I've been researching very aggressively. This was one of the biggest ones for me, because you really do just have to have blind faith that it's all for you. And at the moment when you're about to feel the most pain, if you just decide, okay, I have faith that this is happening for a good reason, it takes away all that negative energy. And so not only you don't feel that pain, it also clears the path for all the good things to come in even quicker. And it's all effortless. So I really, really want everyone else to be able to feel that. So I hope everyone in the group, and I'm going to post on the YouTube as well, I hope everyone is able to put that into practice or share our experiences that they've already had, so that everybody can benefit from these stories. It makes a huge impact when we share our stories, because other people can then remember that story and apply it when something similar comes up. So I'm so grateful, Beth, that you came on today and shared your stories. It was a huge story, and I know it's going to have a big impact in the group with a lot of people.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Okay, so if you don't have anything else that you want to add, we'll end the call and I'll post it on the group, and we'll have a chance to see what experiences they've had with this shifting.
I love to hear from them.
Nice. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.